All right. Welcome to Sunday afternoon streams. Only because I had stuff on in the morning. So now that's all sorted. Now we can talk about what's going on. So I've titled this stream the Supra Supercar is ugly. So, but I noticed something just now about the livery. See here, I've got Chaz Moss's 2021 car. I was looking at the race suit from this year's car. I'm like, I feel like he's worn that kind of race suit before. Here it is, 2021. Apart from it doesn't have the white down the side, and that's pretty much the difference. And they've obviously got some zigzag stuff going down, or some lines going down the edges there. When they all went away from having belts on the race suits, just sort of like something different. Must have been a long time ago that we had things like that. But you can see the Supra there, and it's just not great to look at. That's sort of my hot take. Looking at it going, I'm not impressed with any of the 3 liveries that have come out yet. I think the Walkinshaw one was a bit lazy. So we want to try and find the pictures that have all the angles. So I'll bring that up there. Pop that there, and then I'll start sharing this thing. Right. So it looks alright, it looks fine. When you go along, and just like, what's going on there? Just there's a lot of like aero bits all over the place. It looks alright. Some people are saying, "Oh, it looks so tough." It's so hard to say that it looks tough because the headlights on the thing look ridiculous. I don't know what's going on there with the rain light, but it just there's some weird stuff going on with the way that car looks. And I'm sure a lot of that is done by the homologation team to have all those little aero bits to be clever. But it goes in the wind tunnel anyway. And you're like looking at that, like, what am I looking at? The GR over the rear wheel looks ridiculous. You can't really see it properly. Which they probably didn't really realise when they were designing the livery, but maybe they should have. Because it just doesn't look right. It's just the same. You can kind of see the GR there, but you got Optus right next to it. I don't know. It doesn't look that good. And then we've got some photos from the 12 hour. Actually, this is from QR. Parity testing. And they've done a lot of testing lately. People are complaining because they're doing more testing at Bathurst and saying, "Oh, what's the point of them doing that at Bathurst? Blah blah blah." Look, take it from the people who are doing it. They know what they're doing. Looks alright there, but it's just sort of like, what is this car supposed to look like? The rear lights, the front lights. I'm not impressed. It's just not an attractive car to look at. Whereas you could look at, what do we got? This is all 2026 stuff that I've got. Let's see what else I've got. If I look at, I'll just share the entire screen. Be a lot easier if I just do it like that. No, this is last year's car. Looks cool. Looks fine. The headlights, it looks like a pretty tough car. Some of the stuff they're doing with that livery looks a bit, I don't know, but it's a tough looking car, right? You know, he's just won the championship. It's a tough looking car. But then you go to the Supra, and there's a lot of I don't know what they're trying to achieve with it. But that's what you get with new cars, I suppose. You're not always going to get the most attractive looking car, but the Nissan Altima looked pretty cool. Some of the liveries going on there. We'll have a look at Heimgartner's car, so on the other one apart from Woody's that we've got. The Heimgartner's car reminds you of the Toyota? Is it a Supra in like a GT Supra? Whatever it was. The similar livery to what I think Randall did a livery that was like that. It was the Castrol one. So that reminds me of that one. So we'll find Randall's Castrol livery. Sure they got it somewhere. Was it? No, it was 2024. This one. So we got that, and then I'll bring up Andre's Supra. I'll show all that. Bring that, and bring that, and bring that. So that's what we've got going in there. It looks. Maybe it's not that one. Maybe it's a different one. Because that's the livery that I had on the Supra. I think on the right there, and then you got what Heimgartner's got. Like if I had a livery like that on the Supra, it'd probably look pretty cool. But they're doing some different stuff there. I don't know. As soon as I saw the Heimgartner livery, I actually noticed the dimensions of the car, because you notice how bulbous the back is. It's just got a massive ass, the car. And you look at it and you go, why is it like that? They're trying all these different things. And they've taken it through aero testing, and so it's going to be achieving all of the same results, supposedly. So, going to be interesting. Because I think when it first... Let's find a picture from like the first time the Supra was announced. Find. I think it'll be in general. 2025. Have I got a picture somewhere of the Supra? This is when they went into the wind tunnel. So I'll show that. And so it doesn't look as bulbous as it does on Heimgartner's car, but it could be angles, you know. It doesn't look as bad. It didn't look as bad on Chaz's car. It looks like, they got a little bit going on, but it's not a huge amount. You got some stuff going on there and there. Wonder what it looks like. We find... Yeah, sort of groove. It's got like a little groove there. We had that same angle. Find it. It's a similar angle. Put that there, and I'll pop in the hand. Don't do it like that. Connection is unstable. No, apparently it's good. I guess. Alright. So here we've got. Hang on, not that one. This one. So I got some stuff going on here. I think there's some grooves in the front, just underneath the headlight. You got some stuff going down here in the corner. Probably something like they were swapping in and out before they all put it all together. Looks very, very bulbous on Heimgartner's car. The way the door is sort of folds in. Like, how are they supposed to get out of that car? It's kind of crazy. And then what else we got? Find Chaz's car from when he was testing. It's at a similar angle there. Oh, gotta open it, plop it there, and we'll put this one. Yeah, it does have a huge arse there. You can see even on Chaz's car, just massive. I don't know. I guess it just looks like a Supra at this point, but it's just like not the best looking car. Like, if you wanted to drive a car that looked like it was gonna be really tough and win the championship, you'd probably pick a Mustang or a Camaro. You know, the one that Chaz had that won the championship. Where's the? You know, like this is a tough looking car. And then you got what else we got? Who's driving Chevs these days? Team 18. Got Anton's car. Anton's got a pretty cool looking livery. It looks a lot more like slipstreamy, but I think it's just the way they've done the livery. Not necessarily a tough looking livery. We got MSR who don't. Yeah, not necessarily a tough looking car, but looks fine. But just the headlights is where I'm looking at for like whether it's a tough car or not. There's just not a whole lot you can do. So I'll get rid of all that and we'll look at something else. Yes, that's Chaz. Not confirmed for 27 yet. Which is interesting. I mean, I'd just keep extending if I were him. Where else are you going to go? He's turned the team into what he needed to be. He won the championship. Won Bathurst again. This time more legitimately. Has won several races at the team. Yeah, it's just yeah. I think that's all I got to say about that. So what else? What else can I talk about? Pretty much done talking about the Supra. I have been working on some things. What do we got? I think it's just in my spreadsheet on experienced drivers. Alright. this here. Going to show experienced drivers. So this is 1998. I've got it ordered in the achievements that drivers got. So this is just in order of who's most experienced, what they've achieved. And just because you're experienced doesn't mean you should have won a number of races. So it's almost always about where you are and therefore what you're able to do because of where you were. Mark Scaife has had 21 wins, more wins than Longhurst, Perkins, and Alan Jones. But he's driving for Gibson Motorsport. So it was Nissan, and then they switched to Holden and won championships then. So a great team that could still win races, get poles, get heaps of podiums. So some people say, I think on Speed Cafe, they were like, oh, Golding should have won more races by now. So he hasn't been in a team that could win races. Like you've got to beat the best in the category to win a race. You either get lucky or you're good. And Golding at Premier Racing is going to be bit unlikely for him to win a race. Same thing with Macca Jones. Macca Jones isn't the best driver at BJR because they signed people who were more impressive in Super 2. Macca was pretty good in Super 2. I'm watching 2017, and Macca was pretty good. 2018, he won a couple. Well, he could have won a few races, but it wasn't to be. And yeah, so you got the top 7 have won races. And then you got Ingle, who won races. Lowndes obviously won the championship, and that's pretty much. I think all of this is not this is heading into 1998. It's not including 1998. You got age and number of seasons. It is in order of number of seasons. So there are some drivers who, like Glenn Seaton, was very young when he started. Mark Scaife was young. You got Paul Romano there, but then you're getting down to people who've done 3 seasons, not people who've done 10 seasons. Cito was 21. Scaife was 21. It's just like those guys were really good, and then you got Alan Jones, but it's Alan freaking Jones. He won the F1 World Championship, and he's done 10 years in supercars. And you got Dick Johnson, who I found very interesting. Hadn't done anything else. He just did touring cars, and then he came in and he built a great car, won championships, won Bathursts. While he was successful, and maybe if I had achievements written down for, I think it was 91 or 1990. I think it was 92 they started doing more races. So from that point onwards, people who started from 1992, because it used to just be one race during the round, but then from like 1992, started to be multiple races per round, or heats. And so then you actually start seeing the numbers going up. So guys like Glenn Seaton and John Bowe and Mark Scaife get more wins and get more results, whereas your Dick Johnsons and Larry Perkins, who raced in the earlier period, weren't as likely to get those results because there weren't as many races. So we've got here the 2026 grid. David Reynolds is the most experienced driver on the grid. I feel like I've gone through this before, but I'll go through it again. Was that the only championship he won? 2007 Carrera Cup? I think it was. He might have done Formula Ford as well, but Chaz won 2010 Formula Ford. LeBrock won 2012. De Pasquale 2013. Randall 2014. It's interesting, like looking at the Formula Ford championships, who won them year after year. 2015, and then I think 2016 was the last time it mattered. So it didn't really matter too much after that. Formula Ford, I think what's it called? Motorsport Australia got very confused with what they wanted to do. They moved from Formula Ford to Formula 4, so suddenly Formula 4 was a thing to be in, but it didn't even last that long. You got Will Brown did it in 2016. Ojeda won it in 2018. I think Louis Leeds maybe won it in 2017. And I know I'm bashing on about Randall as well, but he's 2020 Super 2 champion, 2014 Formula Ford champion, 2017 Toyota Racing Series champion. And I looked at it last weekend, and the reason that Golding got into supercars before Randall, and like Golding, Randall, and Cam Hill are the same age. Basically, Golding went straight for supercars. Randall tried to crack Europe, and Cam Hill spent too long in Carrera Cup. And he only moved into supercars after he finally won the Carrera Cup championship, when he probably could have done some races in Super 2, but you don't know if you had the budget, or it's just sort of like sometimes like, what are you doing? Maybe you should just be going straight for what you want to do. Ryan Wood has never won a championship. Who was? I think somebody else won the Toyota Racing Series this year. Or they call it Formula Regional Oceania. Somebody else did that. But like some of these guys did try to go chase the European dream and weren't very successful. You got Aaron Cameron, who won his 5,000 heaps of times. 2 times Tasman Series winner, and 1 time Australian Drivers Champion, which is something that didn't used to matter. And so it's interesting looking at 1998. Or even we could look at, probably didn't in 2013. No one would have done it. We go here to 1998, and you've got Longhurst did, and here we go. John Bowe, 1985, 1984 Australian Drivers Champion. Mark Scaife won it several times. 93, 92, 91. 3-time champion to that. Engel never won it. Sort of interesting looking at, I think it's the Formula 4 Driver to Europe championship. So where's Larkham? Yeah, 1989 Formula 4 Driver to Europe, 1990 Driver to Europe with Engel. It's just a series that were around at the time. What mattered, what didn't matter. Australian Drivers Championship was Formula Holden. So you got Jason Bright won it. I think Rick Kelly won it. Todd Kelly might have won it. Garth Tander couldn't afford to do Formula Holden, but he ended up in supercars anyway. And something that I realised recently is that I know, like when the teams they've got sponsorship on the cars, you think, the drivers don't need to bring money, but if they need to bring a budget, what's the sponsorship paying for? Like, you don't really know how much money sponsors are paying for the stickers on that car, based on what the teams are choosing to charge. Are they just covering the cost of the full-time staff, and then then the drivers bring a budget to race the cars, and that's what they do. It's sort of interesting what it was like, especially for Gary Rogers Motorsport with Dean Canto. I think I had a guy commenting saying that Dean Canto brought a budget. I think someone said that Brock Feeney was bringing a budget for his rookie season. I'm thinking like Triple A. It didn't make sense to me that you have to bring money to your seat for Triple A. You should be bringing, they should just sign a great driver. So it's like if he's bringing money, it means they don't believe in him. That's sort of my attitude. Otherwise, you go, yeah, can you drive for free? We can't afford to pay you, or we will pay for you because we think you're the guy we want. Sometimes it just doesn't make sense, some of the stuff you hear. We've got the last, 4 Super 2 champions. I think who's the 2021 champion? Brock Feeney, Thomas Randall. Yeah, we've got the last 6 Super 2 champions, which is pretty great. I don't think we've had that kind of progression for a really long time. If I was looking at, I don't know what I'm sharing there. I think I've stopped there. We'll do that. And I don't know. I'll probably just do an hour if no one drops in. What else are we looking at? We were looking at. I was going to look at Super 2. There's a lot going on in Super 2 at the moment. The last few. That needs to disappear. Got that, and then I'll start sharing development series. So the last few we got all the way to 2020 with Thomas Randall. So 2019 was Forward, 2018 was Pither. So you'd have to be looking at like 2020 or 2022 to include Pither. 2017 at Hazelwood, so you could still do 2018 or 2020 or 2022 to include Hazelwood. And Jacobson, so you'd have to be looking at. You could still look at 2022 for that. 2015 Waters, it's fine. 2014. Where is he? Dumbrell. All right, so you can't do Dumbrell. So you can, if you had 2015 to 2019, you could include them. But then you could also include, if you look at 2022, you got Randall and Feeney. So yeah, in 2022 it would have been like that. But then start losing guys like, well, yeah, if you could, 2022 you'd still have Waters, Jacobson, Hazelwood. Yeah, so you still see pretty good progression, but in recent years those guys have dropped off, especially in 2022. Lost Jacobson. And what else? Lost. We've lost Hazelwood. We've lost. Pither didn't last, and Forward didn't last. I couldn't remember who was driving because I'm watching the 2017 Super 2 Championship, and I was like, who drove for MW? Who drove the Nissans in 2018? And because all I could think of was Forward and Goddard. And I was like, oh yeah, Fiore, Rullo, and Jacobson. So I was just like, that's just so weird. Thinking about who was in that championship, because none of those guys got to get into the main game, apart from Jacobson. But he was waiting for ages. And then he got the chance to step up in the Nissan. Wasn't a great team or a great entry for him to be in. And then he drove MSR while they were building. And then 2021 he was at Team Sydney. 2022 Premier, and then he got sacked. And you could say maybe he just wasn't good enough. And you could say because Premier was supposed to be a much better team, arguably the best team that he'd been at, and still struggling. Like MSR in 2020 wasn't too bad because Jacobson was qualifying close to the top 10, getting a couple of top 10s. Wasn't too bad. But it used to be pretty rare. So 2002 was what pulled umbrella. 2003, Frosty. Tied. 2004, Andrew Jones. 2005, Dean Canto. 2006, Adam Macro. And Adam Macro never stepped up. Apart from, I think he drove for Team Kiwi in what, 2007? No, it wouldn't have been 07. That was Radicic. So Adam Macro, I think, did drive 1 year, maybe 2008 or something. I think Kane Scott drove in 08. 07 was D'Alberto. So it was a lot less common for the Super 2 champion to step up, and it's become more common in recent years. Zach Bates had to wait another year. What else? 2023 was Kai Allen. He had to wait another year. There were a few guys that did have to wait a few years. Fraser had to go, and then he lost his seat, but he's back now. Feeney got to step up straight away. It's weird, some of these. I don't know. There are some drivers as well that you go, he deserved a better chance. He wasn't too bad. He was pretty good. You got Jay Hansen there driving for Image, and he was pretty good, but he didn't win races, or he wasn't close enough. You got Roy Botham in 22. He won was it 21 or 22 that he won the first race of the year? I thought it was Job Stewart, but Job Stewart didn't win his first race until last year or something, or the year before. Just a rough time for some of these teams. Jared Hughes did a really good job. And then he had a really bad year last year. Whereas Job Stewart didn't have such a bad year. And I think we're waiting on news on who's going to drive with Charter and who's going to drive the fourth Eggleston car. It's going to be somebody new, apparently. It's going to be another rookie. I was interested to see that Matt Hillier was driving number 2 on his BJR car, not number 9, so it's a bit interesting. Lockie Doughton's back in the 43. Zach Best is back in the 78. He last drove in championship with the number 17 the Anderson car and the XDJR car. But he had 78 when he was at Tickford and when he was at MW in 2020. It's interesting, like some of those guys, a lot of the guys who raced in 2020 did Super 3 in 2019, like Feeney, like Zach Best. What else? Was there someone else? Jada, I think. So yeah, a few of those guys were in Super 3, then they step up. They're in the MW Nissan. I think Goddard stepped up. Everingham didn't get the chance. Didn't have the budget, I think. Ended up at Anderson, did one round at Sydney Motorsport Park, and that was it. Difficult times. And some of these teams just were not able to continue. Got Matt McLean was another driver that I thought he probably should have been able to. He should have lasted. He should have had an endurance co-drive because I thought he was pretty good in 21. Came 5th in the championship. But I guess maybe they think, oh, he should be able to beat Matt Charter. But, I don't know. Maybe Charter's good. I don't know. It's 4th in 21. Oh. 23rd and 24, and didn't run in 25. And when I think about AIM Motorsport in Super 2, because Adam DeBore's come back, he's going to be at Master Motorsport helping Hamish Fitzsimmons, and Adam DeBore ran AIM Motorsport, which was sort of like this massive operation that, we've got all these cars and we're going to help this other team and blah, blah, blah. And they just sort of burned too bright, too quick. Not that they were winning races or anything, but it's sort of sad to see what they had. 3 cars. They had Masterton, Jet Johnson, and Zane Morse. And then, it looks like they put Ryan Gilroy in for the second round. Something happened to Morse. Jet Johnson had his own issues, so he decided not to continue. Dean Fiore replaced him, so they had Fiore and Morse in for Townsville, I think. And Masterton pulled out after the first round. And that was the end of it. I think we didn't see anything with Callum Walker. That was the end of it. Just did two years. Pulled out after the 4th round. Callum Walker is a speedway guy or sprint car guy and had to go at supercars with his own team, which is probably the mistake. He probably should have just let somebody else do it, but that's what happens sometimes. People, they go into Super 2 and they try to run their own operation. And we got Alice Buckley doing that. But Tim Slade seemed to think that that's the right way to go about things, that, you know all your people, everyone knows how to work together, and everyone knows the driver, so they can all work together to in this new category. And then she's got the data assistance from MSR, so that's going to be helpful as well. I think MSR, like Matt Stone said, that they've got some permanent people in the Super 2 program this year, so that's going to be helpful as well. So that's going to help their custom program with Alice Buckley. I'm not overly excited about Alice Buckley. Some people think she's going to be the best thing ever. I think it's a bit over-glorified. I would be surprised if she was impressive, because she hasn't won a championship yet. She's come in with all this momentum, with all this backing from Chevrolet and was it Castrol or BP, all this support, and you go, is she going to be that good? So I'll find the photos of what sponsorship she's got on her car. Alice Buckley. Bring that up. Yeah. All right. So I'm a bit hungry. I didn't get to eat my lunch before. I was like, I got to stream. So I do have a bit of food here, but I'm also like, maybe we'll watch a race at the end of this. Maybe we'll watch a bit more 2017 to Super 2 or something. So you got Alice Buckley here. She's got Castrol. She's got Autobahn, Shannon's, whatever IVE is, AC Delco. What else? Was there a rear shot? No. It's the side shot. Yeah, so she's got all this sponsorship, and I was looking at her like, she's got like as good a sponsorship as what Brock Feeney had when he went to when he won the championship at Triple A. And here she comes and she's running her own team and she's got all this sponsorship on board, and she's got all this support. She got Tim Slade helping her, and she's got her own team, and I just don't know if that's going to really work for her. If she's actually going to be super successful in Super 2. I wouldn't bet on her winning the championship, but maybe she'll get a couple top 10s. She's going to have to turn it on pretty quickly, otherwise people are going to lose interest and she's going to lose support, and that's going to be the end of her. It's kind of, but maybe it's one of those things where everyone's put a lot of effort into this. It's going to be a bit unlikely for her to what is it? It's like everyone's put too much into it for it to fail, so it has to succeed, so it's going to succeed. But she's, I think in Super 2 maybe it could have been better if it was just like she just rocked up as a driver and just drove the car, rather than having her own crew. That like some crew in Super 2 are just like, they're not, or they just have different people at the round. So you might have the driver and the engineer, and that might be it. And then everyone else go to different states. You bring in different people, and it's just like, yeah, we just need a panel beater to fix the dents. And if we have a big shunt, we need someone to replace the radiator and hook everything back up afterwards and sticker it up. And like some of these drivers and engineers are going to have multiple skill sets to help make that program work. So yeah, I don't know. I'd be surprised if she was the bee's knees, but it could happen. All right, what else? Who's my bet for Super 2 champion? Charter's coming back in what do they got? ZB Commodores? I don't know what they had in 2024. They must have had ZB Commodores. Do I have any photos of Matt Charter? Yeah. Yeah, they got their Gen 3 car. I don't have photos of anything else. So this is 2020, was it 24? Wild card at Bathurst. Pretty good. They got a bunch of Premier guys there. That's interesting. I wonder if Blanchards have got their merch out yet. I'm going to check that. Probably not, but I'm going to... Blanchard Racing Team 2026 merch. No, that's Snowy River. I'll be waiting to see. It needs to be 2026. So they got a lot of stuff discounted. This Team Polo BRT Cool Drive. But $45 for a Polo. $45 for a Snowy Rivers one. $40 for a hat. $20 for a retro hat. Snowy Rivers retro hat. Looks better than the other one. I'll show you. Oh, that's the retro hat, and that's the normal one. The retro one looks better. That one's a retro one, looks pretty cool. And no other hats. But everything's discounted. $6 for a can cooler. I don't drink much out of cans these days, unfortunately. Well, they were sold out of the hats. And everything else is on sale, so yeah, trying to offload everything. Yeah. Alright. 4 days to the Sydney 500. When's the test days next week on what, Wednesday or something? Golding had a crash. Boom. Big one at McPhillamy. Or Reed Park. Big hit. Damn. Yeah, Randall had a crash. He just sort of span and tagged the corner of the car and did enough damage for him to have to bring it in the garage. But I'm not really watching 12 Hour. I saw the thing about the kangaroo crash with Christopher Mees. That was bad. And Brock Feeney was driving that car as well, so that's the end of that one. What's that? Limited time offer. KO Sports, $5 a month for 2 months. For KO Premium use. Yeah. To new customers only. I'll be a returning customer. Yeah. And I see people are putting out their predictions. I haven't put mine out yet. I mean, I did my predictions, but I still wonder if I'm getting it right. Like, I always think that there's got to be a better way to predict things. Like, how do you know for sure that a team is like, are they normally up the top, and then just had a bad year and they're going to bounce back? Like, how do you know if Premier are going to be 6th in the championship or not, or if BRT are going to improve, or if Erebus are going to be the top team out of that bottom half of the field? And I've been thinking about commentators, because they introduced the new 2026 commentary team, and they got Chad Nail on, they got Garth Tander because they got rid of Scapey and Crompo. And I've been thinking, maybe, like, I've been watching 2015 main game, and I'm like, Greg Rust isn't that great with Neil Crompton. But then I've been watching 2017 Super 2, and it's got Greg Rust and Greg Murphy. And they're great. They're great to listen to, especially with Murphy. He's always excitable, enthusiastic. And they're great together. But, this is 2 years later. Maybe Rusty hadn't had that much experience as a commentator. I think in previous years, it was Aaron Noonan and that on doing the Super 2 commentary. So we don't know if Murph and Rusty were doing 2016 Super 2. Yeah, I just wanted to know when the preseason test is going to be. Is that Will Brown doing a thing? So where is... Yeah, well, there's the Tickford liveries. I actually like both of them. I like there's a bit more green on Waters' car and a bit more, and there's actually a bit of a shiny livery on Randall's car. I was like, oh, that looks cool. What was an episode of the Wild? I better listen to that. So, I'll show. That's Randall's car. Looks pretty cool with the shininess, and then you got Waters' car with the extra, much thicker green down the bottom. It was just on the edges they had green last year. But yeah, there's a cool looking green on the Castrol car. Nice to look at. Preseason test, nothing about that. So it's next weekend. And we've got, when is the Supercars pre-season test? Pre-season split? What are you talking about? Should have the all-in test. Engine testing across the different circuits. MSR, 888, and Walkinshaw. We're on QR, and 888 with Brown's car, and then running cars at the Bathurst 12 hour. 888 Walkinshaw and Team 18. So I guess Team 18 couldn't bring a car to Queensland in time. That's interesting. What about the pre-season test MSR? Yeah, leads into the destination New South Wales test day on Wednesday. Alright, yeah, that's what I thought. Fans can expect to see 888, Walkinshaw, and BJR getting up to speed with the new machinery. Cool. Alright. What else? I watched a bit of. I wasn't sure who did the commentary for 2016. I'll switch to. Where is it? I'm pretty sure I can switch accounts while I'm streaming with one account, so I'm just gonna switch to full thing. And we just want to see who's. If we find it, Motorsport Direct. That's what I was watching. But 2016, who was on the Cairns and Super 2? I guess I'll just go to subscriptions because Motorsport Direct has been posting a lot of stuff. Here's me. Here we go. Some of the stuff that Motorsport Direct has been posting is it's like old stuff. Well, it's just stuff that's already on Supercars. Let's watch this. It's all main game. Here we go. Well, there's Rusty and Murph in 2016. Okay, so who did it in 2015? I think we'll be able to watch Cam Waters smashing everyone. And sometimes people are like, oh, they're droning on and on. Well, they're saying stuff. They're not saying anything that's not useful. Some people just complain for the sake of complaining and they bandwagon. And they go, well, they'll just say the same stuff. I'd rather people just say things that they actually mean and have something to say about it. Otherwise, it's just annoying. And no, 2015 Super 2? No, apparently not. At 2014. So I guess we can watch a bit of 2014. Yeah. Oh, no. Since we saw you last December, because we've changed the formats for this year. There'll be 2 races at every round and then longer races too. So that first corner carnage should disappear.
stepping up, and this guy is back. Paul Umbro won the series in 2002. 12 years on, he's back to stay race sharp for the endurance races. We're on team with Jamie Winker at Red Bull Racing Australia. It's all about making sure that he's race fit come September.
Paul Umbro may be a former winner of the development series, but he knows he'll have to up the ante to take on this current generation of pacey drivers as he strives to prepare for the endurance races later in the year.
Been a full circle for me. Is where I started and coming back here. But I guess the main prize for us is to make sure I'm ready and raring to go for the endurance races this year with Jamie.
His teammate this year is Gary Jacobson, a Formula Ford graduate who will no doubt soak up all he can from his new mentor in his second year in the championship.
Paul's quite up to speed with the van Supercar. His experience is something that I'm trying to keep up with now during race weekends. If I can feed off that as much as I can, I think I'm going to have a really good year.
Last year's Dunlop Series runner-up Ash Walsh set his sights on the title last year, only to see it slip away to Dale Wood. But this year, he's especially hungry to go one better.
Really crucial for me this year to prove to the guys up and down the main game pit lane that I'm capable of doing the job. So I felt Sydney was probably my best round in doing that. I felt really good, comfortable there. So I feel like Adelaide coming off the back of there has been quite good. So I'm going to try and build on that experience and do the best job that I can.
There's an international flavour to the Dunlop Series this year, with Swede Fredrik Lestrup joining the fold. He's been a long-time observer of the category and can't wait to adjust to driving a V8 supercar.
Been a fan for many, many years. I've watched it on TV.
I don't think that lasted very long.
Seen everything. I know more than about the people, the tracks, the drivers, the teams than people might think. And it's been a dream for many, many years to come here. And now I'm here. Just to be here for me, it's a big thing. It's an emotional roller coaster.
2012 Formula Ford champion Jack LeBlanc will grid up for the first time in Adelaide as part of Erebus Motorsports Academy program. Other strong challenges for the title this year could come from youngsters Cameron Waters, who will race under the Ford Performance Racing banner,
The first
and
4 rounds.
who joins the reigning champion team MW Motorsport.
Blimey.
Coming out of Formula Ford, I was pretty fast in that, and I was winning a lot. Getting in the DBS series, I just had to learn so much. I'm just running deep end. So, yeah, I learned a lot in my first year of DBS, but I think I can kind of take that into this year and learn from all my mistakes in the past.
The best thing I learned last year was sort of how to conserve his tyres. His tyres are a lot different to drive than anything else I've driven. So, especially I learned that here last year, first race, massive flat spot off the first lap and had to remove the first spot for the rest of the race.
But keeping the young drivers honest will be experienced campaigners, including Andrew Jones from Brad Jones Racing, who finished third last year, and Paul Morris, who has added incentive to put in a solid year after signing with Ford Performance Racing for the V8 Supercars endurance events with Chaz Mostert.
It's a brand new season for the Dunlop Series 2014, and there's so much on the line. The first round kicks off here in Adelaide after the break. Cars on track for the warm-up lap for this first race in the opening round.
Yeah, so Moons
Dunlop Series
must have changed.
Ford Performance Racing run fell.
It must have changed when they went to the Fox Channel 10 pairing in 2015. They had Murph and Greg Rust on Super 2 duties.
And he's taken his first career pole, a nice little Jitsu, $500 with thanks to Armour All for the young gun, the 19-year-old. Will start from pole for this first race. 14 races across 7 rounds for 2014. Greg Murphy's alongside him. Let's check out the grid. Ash Walsh, runner-up in the series last year. He starts on the front row. Yeah, he's starting where he left off last year, but a great performance by Cam Waters. He is a star of the future, no question about it. FPR recognise that.
Well, they got Murph there as well. Murph with Aaron Noonan. Gary didn't qualify that well.
This field is really shaping up to be something this season. I'm really looking forward to it. Fredrik Lestrup, the Swede who's joined this weekend. So Robert Dahlgren in the Volvo with the champion.
Lots of people.
He's not the only one who's come to play in V8.
And over the years,
5 drivers making their Dunlop debut.
they had 30 cars there in 2014. And they went from 30 cars, they got heaps of cars, you go scroll to go down. And it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And then 2017, smaller, 2018, 2019, down to 2020. Bigger, well, not necessarily bigger, but it actually grew up quite a lot in 2024. So just a lot of different people, or 25, so up to what, a 20 car grid. Pretty good, but it was way low in 2020. It was just like, I didn't feel like there was a lot of cars. You know, a lot of people did round one, and then Matt McLean did Bathurst, and Everingham did SMP, and that was it. And Miranda won the championship. So yeah, I don't know. I think that'll be it for today's stream. I'm a bit worn out, and I don't really have a lot to present or a lot to say. So yeah, that's going to be it for today, and hopefully it'll back to be the way it's supposed to be, which is hopefully we'll be back to Sunday mornings next weekend, next Sunday. See you guys next time. Goodbye.